Baba becomes one of the easiest bosses in TOA once you learn how to red X. There are two different ways that you can red X Baba, the beginner and the advanced method. Let's start off by explaining the beginner method. To get started, here are some plugins that I find useful when doing this method. Tile indicators, which I use to highlight my character's true tile. Better NPC highlight to highlight Baba's true tile. Object markers makes it a little bit easier to not misclick on the teleport crystal. And I also have low detail on, which changes the way the floor looks. I almost forgot to mention opponent information, which allows you to see the exact percent the boss is at. Baba has a special attack at exactly 66 and 33%, so this is helpful to know. Here's how I like to set up when entering the room. Enter the room and head to the tile I have labeled as 1. From here, turn off your run and pull out your spec weapon. Also, go ahead and turn on Protect from Melee and Piety, as you need to tank one hit from Baba to set this up. Once Baba's true tile is here, you can click to attack and immediately move to the tile I've labeled 2. Once you see your character's true tile, move to the tile 2, click the teleport crystal, and walk 3 tiles under Baba. Using the true tile plugin can help you to be more consistent in timing this properly. When your character has stepped 3 tiles under, you'll now click to attack and the cycle begins. Once you see the clouds appear under Baba or you hear this sound, you're free to click the teleport crystal to repeat the cycle. The only difference now is that you'll walk under only 2 tiles from now on. You only need to walk 3 tiles under when setting up initially. Here's the entire setup without any pauses. This clip is also slightly different because I don't use the bone dagger, which has an animation stall and kind of looks a little weird. And also, rather than clicking when Baba's true tile reaches a certain tile, I just wait for Baba to attack me, and then I attack Baba back, and then I move to tile 2. This also works. Something worth noting is that at 90%, Baba will throw a few boulders. One of them will be where your character is standing at the time, and the others are the boulders you stand beside for the boulder throw special. You can completely ignore this if Baba's path level is 2 or 3. It may look like you messed up because she puts her paw up, but you're still in cycle. If the path level is 1, for example, you'll have to avoid that boulder that's going to fall on your character. The easiest way to do this is to move 1 tile beside tile 2. To set up after getting through the boulders, it's the same thing as before, just slightly different. You'll want to drop an item on either side of Baba, typically a potion, and then run to the other side. Just like before, attack Baba, move back 1 tile, and then walk 3 tiles under Baba. Again, I like to use my true tile indicator to help me with this. From here, you're in cycle, and you only need to step under Baba 2 tiles from now on. It's the same setup as before, but we're using a potion rather than the teleport crystal. Now here's what you can do if you mess up the setup during phase 1. This is an example where you forgot to turn your run off, which happens a lot. After clicking the crystal, I realize my run is still on. So I stand still, turn it off, and then click the crystal to force Baba to do the shadow attack, which allows us to red X. Once Baba turns to begin the shadow attack, I control click away from her and click the crystal to begin the cycle at the same time you normally would. With this setting enabled in your game settings, control clicking will make your character do the opposite of what your run is set to. You can also move a little bit while doing this red X method, as I do here, to get away from the gap. I mentioned earlier that there's a more advanced version of red X, and I'll go over that now. Some useful plugins for this method are Menu Entry Swapper, which allows you to walk under enemies by holding shift, Visual Metronome, which places a tick counter on your screen, and as mentioned a moment ago, the in-game setting for control clicking, which inverts your run mode. The easiest way to set up this method is by immediately running up to Baba once you enter the room, turn on Protect from Melee and Piety, and attack Baba with your Fang twice. Immediately as you attack with your Fang for the second time, shift click 2 tiles under Baba and then control click to attack Baba. This will force your character to run under and then slowly walk out before attacking. From here, you're in cycle. To continue red Xing, you'll step under Baba when her paw is almost touching the ground. We can use my tick counter on the side to visually see where in Baba's swipe animation you can click. In this example, as long as I click at any point while my tick counter says 3, I'll be on time. I think this will help to really show the timing of when to step under. You must step under 2 tiles because you must be under Baba for 2 ticks to force the quick shadow attack, which allows us to red X. We control click to walk to make our character stay under for 2 ticks, even with our run turned on. This is because you walk 1 tile per tick. Here you can see what happens when I step only 1 tile under. You may have noticed that I'm not clicking the same tile every time, and that's because it doesn't actually matter which tile you choose, as long as it's 2 tiles under Baba. Since Baba is 5x5, there are 8 total tiles you can use to red X with. Though if you use the middle tiles, you'll have to move immediately after you attack, or you'll take a little bit of damage from the shadow attack. Once you get all of that down, you're ready to start moving around at the same time. You can run up to 4 tiles away from Baba before stepping under. You can run in any direction you'd like as long as you remember everything we just went over. Sometimes there will be boulders in your way, but you can just drag Baba around them, or run right past them and Baba will path by herself. Though be careful when you do this, because you can end up being on Baba's middle tile, forcing you to move or you will take some damage. It's nice to drag Baba to the other side of the room before you get her below 90%, so you never even have to worry about the boulders during phase 1. Once at the bottom, I like to path around Baba to allow me to switch to red Xing with Obelisk to conserve a little bit of run. A quick tip that can make it easier to stay in cycle while moving around is that once you attack with your Fang, there are 3 ticks until you have to step under. You can easily count these ticks with your True Tile indicator, since if you're constantly walking or running, every time the indicator moves, it means a tick has passed. Once you get through the boulders, the setup is simple. Attack 3 times with your Fang, tanking 1 hit, and then step under immediately after the 3rd Fang. You're now in cycle. When doing this, Baba will always attack you 1 tick after your 2nd Fang hit, so you only need to protect melee for that 1 tick. You can only do this setup on phase 2 though, since things change a bit during phase 3. After hitting through the boulders a 2nd time, the easiest way to get in cycle is to attack with any 4-tick weapon and then switch to your Fang, attack again, and then step under immediately after your Fang hit. Some 4-tick weapons you'll likely have with you include a Dragon Dagger, Whip, Rapier, or Keris. Alternatively, you could just attack twice with your 4-tick weapon, stepping under after your 2nd attack. Or Fang once, and then just before you would Fang a 2nd time, you can step under. Now, let's go over ways you can fix the cycle when you mess it up. If you mess up the cycle during phase 1 or 2, this means anywhere above 33%, you must wait 5 ticks after Baba attacks you before you step under. I typically use the Visual Metronome plugin to help me count those 5 ticks. You must begin counting immediately when you see Baba begin her attack animation. If you mess up the cycle during phase 3, meaning anywhere below 33%, you will wait 3 ticks instead of 5 after Baba attacks. When Baba does an auto attack, there is a chance she will do a slow shadow attack instead of a regular swipe. Regardless of what phase of the fight you're in, once a slow shadow pops, you can visually see this and hear it, you will count 6 ticks and then step under. So this is pretty much everything there is to know about Baba Red X. Now, I'll answer a question you're probably wondering. Why do the advanced method? So there are a few reasons I can come up with. The first one being that it can be slightly faster since you aren't waiting for Baba to walk over to you at the start, nor do you have to waste time dropping potions after boulders. I also find this method to be a bit more engaging than standard Red X and makes a quite dull fight a little more exciting. This method is also very useful if you're in a team and Baba swaps to you, and you'd like to immediately set up Red X from anywhere in the room. The most compelling reason to learn this method of Red X is to do something called 5 to 1. This is a Red X method in which you occasionally tank a hit from Baba, allowing you to Red X without missing any ticks. With traditional Red X methods, you'll be attacking every 6 ticks, with typically the Fang, which is a 5-tick weapon. 5 to 1 is not shown in this video, and will have its own guide in a separate video. Doing this advanced version of Red X, as shown in the video, does not save any ticks, like a lot of people believe. You must be taking a hit every 5 attacks to save ticks. If you found this guide helpful at all, I'd really appreciate a like and a subscription to the channel. I also stream on Twitch frequently, so follow me there if you're interested in catching me live.